I had a topic.
Okay.
Did you see that Joe Rogan signed a
mine.
100 million? No, it's not.
Okay.
Come on.
It's Kyle's. It's Kyle's. I totally
Joe
wasn't
Rogan.
about to talk about the same thing.
No, you weren't.
I forgot to write that one down, of all things. That's such huge news.
Definitely
so
not
anyway,
yours.
lay it out for us, Kyle.
Rogan signed a $100 million deal with Spotify, and starting I think in September, all of his content is going to be available over on Spotify. It's starting to sound like an ad read, but I'm just excited for Joe Rogan.
Exclusively on Spotify.
Yeah, eventually it'll be exclusively on Spotify. Like if you want to watch his show the way you've been watching it, you got to head on over to Spotify, but it's free. You don't have to like make some sort of special account or like a paid account or anything like that. You can just his content is going to be Spotify content, and it'll be still produced and created in the same way, in the same format, because he's not going to be an employee of Spotify. It's the same show. It's just over there now.
Does Spotify even have video?
Dude, this is...
Yeah.
The Spotify does videos? I had no idea.
Well, they're going to have to, because that's what he's doing. I don't know anything about Spotify, but I know that he's going there, and that the video episode version of his show will be on Spotify. So hence Spotify does video.
Good for him.
Oh, I didn't...
$100 million. That's awesome.
So, according to my Twitch chat, the most reliable source on the internet, there'll still be
reliable as mine.
There'll still be highlights on YouTube. I don't know if that's true or not. If it is, I think it's smart, right? Like, heck, when I did my channel, I had a Facebook page that I would post to, and I was on Twitter a lot, engaging with people, and all those things were just designed to be a little web that would attract you to my YouTube channel, right? You know, a thing to keep people engaged. Maybe some guy sees me on Twitter or Facebook that wouldn't have otherwise caught my new video. They'd be smart to put it on YouTube, and that could be a funnel that leads people who are interested in a show into Spotify. Because for me, I mean, I don't know what their new platform will be like, but the Jerry show ends as soon as he leaves YouTube. For me, I don't see myself changing platforms to follow him over there. If he's not doing, I watch more Jerry highlights than I watched the full show from beginning to end. And if the highlights aren't on YouTube anymore, then he leaves my universe.
I watched the whole show. I picked the guests that I like, and I watch those. If it's someone I've never heard of or someone I dislike, which happens occasionally, I skip over those. But I probably watch 30-40% of his shows in their entirety in video format. So I'll head on over to Spotify. You know, like why not?
Yeah,
It's
I mean, I
it's
have
not
Spotify.
Like, I don't have to. It's not like I got to walk across town or something. I just type it Spotify and it's there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, great for him though. It sounds like he's getting like a fucking Stern type deal. $100 million. That's
not only
awesome.
is that like Stern,
I mean,
like
he's
money,
way
I
bigger than
guess.
Stern at this point in time.
Yeah, but I feel like Spotify's getting a Stern type deal. I think that Sirius, is it Sirius? You know, their platform was amazingly supported by Stern. There are certain people who would pay $10 a month for Stern. Kyle, okay? They're like, if you took Stern off of Sirius, I think a lot of people would leave Sirius. And I don't know what the numbers are. They're from my head, but maybe a quarter or a third of their viewer base would not find it worth the money had it not been for Stern. And Spotify may get a similar situation with Rogan. He might make that platform the one that Apple can't compete with, or the one that Pandora can't compete with. It's the one that has JRE.
I'm super happy for him. That's awesome. That's an enormous amount of money. He was already making millions and millions a year, but this is a gigantic amount of money that he just has made.
Yeah.
Invest in isolation tanks and fucking
He could start his own UFC.
I disagree.
head polish and kettlebells.
Here's what I think.
HGH.
I think JRE nailed the timing of it. I think, no, I like his show, and I think I like Joe Rogan. Like, I'm cool with that. But I also think he's at the peak of his bell curve. I think that there's a lot of people who have seen it enough. You know, like, there's this, his Reddit's turned against him. You know, they're all, it's like you could, if I told you what the topic is, I'd tell you how Joe will respond to it and what he'll say. They're picking him apart. Like, the tides are turning a little bit on the unchecked fanaticism that he had 2 years ago. And he's selling, I think, at the top of his bell curve. could be wrong. I often
I
predict
don't-
these things too early. You know, I predict
don't watch
FPS
any
Russia
of these
wouldn't last past pumpkin season. So you know, I don't know what he'll do after pumpkin stops selling.
Yes.
That's the whole point of his channel.
It'd be funny if Kyle bought into that too. He's like, they're like, we want to sign you to do the AA12 video. For last time, this is about pumpkin. This is pumpkin channel.
I'm negotiating in
Sorry,
the accent.
we're gonna pay you $400,000 for this. Kyle, please just do it for me. Just one video, not about pumpkins. If there's no artistic, and then he's doing different accents. If there's no artistic integrity to pumpkin channel, I am done.
Right, but I wonder.
What about squash, Kyle? That is not specific type of pumpkin I prefer.
I wonder if anyone else listening to this sees the same like writing on the wall that I do, or perhaps I'm crazy. I'm alluding to something.
I think he's getting I think he's getting more and more A-list guests. I think he's only getting bigger as it goes, and I think his subreddit has a little fun with him. But I think that they are less than 1% of his total fan base. If anything, people hate Brendan Schaub.
Yes, well, Brendan Schwab's show is growing too. He should sell.
I mean, I'm
People hate
sure that if Rogan can get him on Spotify somehow, he will. He'll get some sort of junior deal.
I need to be Rogan's. I want to get on the Rogan gravy train, right? Like
you just gotta just agree with everything he says and be 240 pounds.
I can do that. That's actually brilliant. I just keep eating and agree with everything I'm practicing now.
I do dislike Schaub quite a
Really?
bit. Well, he just never has anything original to say, and when he's on there with Rogan, he's just everything he says is just like absolutely, definitely, oh yeah, we're gonna be like Coca-Cola is the best soda, and Schaub will instantly be like the best. like all he does is amplify everything Rogan says in every single situation. You could find the times that they've disagreed on something, and then Rogan didn't change Schaub's mind by the end of the discussion on one hand. Like it never happens.
I see a lot of that, and I was going to describe it in a similar way. I don't think Schaub, I think, is very insightful. Like he doesn't bring his own thoughts and opinions very often. He just
shocking. He looks so intellectual.
Well, Joe doesn't look
his
intellectual,
background of
but
being punched in the head.
I could say that about Rogan, but Rogan somehow he's like a professional communicator meathead, and that brings these two parallel aspects to all he's intellectually curious, and he brings that to every conversation, and it can make for some great conversations.
Yeah.
And Joe's good at his
I would
job.
say that Joe is successful because, well, he's got the reach of anyone at this point. Kyle's right. Like I also think Joe's more likely to trend up than down because at this point, like he's having not like jokey presidential candidates like Bernie, like real presidential candidates on there, and they're getting real reach out of it. Like
I wish he'd get Biden.
Oh,
Ew.
that would be hilarious if he could get Biden. Biden and Trump, same time. It's a secret setup. Neither one knows the other one's coming. That would be great. I'd listen to that one. I don't listen to that much Joe Rogan, but his skill isn't that he's insightful. It's that he's inquisitive. Like he's got a million different questions for every person that comes on there, and he seems genuinely interested from what I've heard. Like,
and a lot of times with the questions that I have, and I feel like a professional interviewer, some guy on fucking Dateline or ABC, they wouldn't ask the questions that I want to know.
Mm-hmm.
They ask a bunch of nonsense. Rogan asks questions, and I'm like, yeah, what about that? You know, when he asked Elon Musk, so how long before we're flying? How long before I can mentally control a rat and send it to do my bidding?
Yeah, see stuff like, or like the dinosaur thing he did a while back. There's that clip where like he had some paleontologist on. I've watched, it was like a half-hour clip from probably 5 years ago, and Joe brings up like, so like the way a normal interviewer would do it would be like, so all these people saying dinosaurs don't exist, that's simply silliness, correct? And then that guy would be like, absolutely, we have so much evidence, a preponderance of it, there's no reason to even address it. Joe's like, no, I want to spend like half an hour, pull up that guy who says that like raptors are made up.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna watch this whole thing, and you're gonna make fun of it. Perfect. Let's do it. This is what I wanted to watch. Like,
I want you to watch 30 minutes of a man mocking your life's journey, and then have you respond live on camera. Let's go. And by the time they've like watched the clip, the paleontologist is like, all right, well, I'm fucking livid. All right. First of all, that guy is a communist, just so you know. Like just like personal attacks on this guy and like breaking down why this other guy's a piece of shit. Yeah, I love those episodes. That guy has been on with Graham Hancock, the guy who has the theory about the ancient civilizations being killed by the comet and all that shit. So they fit in well together because one can speak on soil samples and fossilization records and stuff like that, and the other can speak on archaeological evidence, and they can kind of go back and forth and paint a really cool picture. Yeah, I love the show. I like when he's got space nerds on there and he's got fucking industry
Stephen
leaders
Cox.
and politicians, comedians, MMA fighters. It's like, these are a few of my favorite things. Like, I like all that shit.
You know why I want Biden on his show? I want to see him in long form, right? Like Joe's gone crazy about how Biden is this headed into the woods at night with a flashlight with dying batteries, right?
Yeah,
that's the Joe Biden analogy. And you say it's true. I want to see it in long form. Joe Biden did a 2-hour debate with Bernie Sanders and looked perfectly fine the entire time. There were no gaffes, there were no problems, right? If you watch his highlights on Twitter and take your views from there, do you think that this guy is a gaffe machine? You could do the same thing to Trump, but people don't. I want to see him on the JRE in long form and see if he fucks up or not. And that would give me a better lens through which to form an opinion on him than what I've seen already, which is the more structured, controlled environments.
Yeah. Mr. Vice President, would you please put this small puzzle together? There are 8 pieces.
I hung out with black kids in the 70s too. That's great.
We
you
know about the black
smoked
children
yet, Joe. You haven't even. You want to get high, Joe? It's like, well, 1 second. Joe goes in the bathroom and calls the police.
Do that. Have Joe talk about Joe Rogan. Have Joe and Joe. Wow, just realized that. Have them debate marijuana. I saw Joe debate Steven Crowder on marijuana. One of the few times I've seen him kind of heated. And Rogan did a great job. And Crowder talks about stuff like this for a living, and Rogan held his own, if not won. So
it's so funny that would be the thing that Rogan gets like. It's like, you don't love pot. What do you mean you don't love pot?
In particular, like he didn't love pot legalization, and Joe was all for it.
He did an equally good job back in the day, going back and forth with one of those ESPN guys about about mixed martial arts and how it was human cockfighting
versus boxing, right? It was against a boxing fanatic. Yeah. That was early. That was before the JRE, I think. But it was
he's got all his hair. Yeah, that's a while ago. I'm really happy for him. I'm glad he's making all that money. That's great. He'll be able to buy so much fucking elk meat.